This is a bit of unplanned video, but uh, I really wanted to showcase a new mechanic I found out about. So this build revolves around Vaal clarity, and I basically use it in conjunction with Indigon. And yeah, I got 1 billion DPS on Spark right now with all my buffs up. Um, I can showcase it real quickly. Basically, I press Vaal clarity and I have no cost to Spark. Um, I have automation on my Arcane Cloak here, um, with reduced duration to make it shorter and trigger faster. And that's what's consuming my mana when I'm in the map. That will in turn give me uh, a lot of damage with Indigo. This build is a bit on a bit extreme in terms of budget. This is one of the more expensive builds I've ever played, but you can do it on a completely different setup on with nothing legacy, unlike mine, and still do phenomenally and do a lot of damage. Even with non-legacy Indigon, that's totally fine. Um, Key takes from this build are basically using Runegraft of the Soulwake in conjunction with Priest of Yarmak and this small node, which is also very, very good, to generate a bunch of Vaal souls, as you can see. And this allows me to basically permanently sustain usage of this skill without any cost. This is very, very broken in my opinion. Um, and when used with Spark, which already wants to scale duration, um, it basically makes it last for like 30 seconds. That is, it could be even more. I'm gonna grab these notes next. I'm still level 96. Currently around 1 billion DPS. Um, yeah, I'm using Adorned as well and a Sublime Vision. I can only use Clarity in this build. Um, I'm using a Legacy Adorned. What is it? Yeah, here. It's not perfect. You can go without a Legacy one. That's fine. You do need the Arcane Surge on a hit tattoo as well, because you cannot trigger Arcane Surge otherwise, because you do not spend mana. That's a very important thing I figured it out. I was playing basically on a 5 link without Arcane Surge. Um, Outside of that, I'm using Dorian's Prototype, uh, Great Wolf with mana and Lightning taken as gold, two mirrored wands, old mirrored wands, with a bad mod actually. The crafted mod and the extra as chaos is useless on this build because I use Darianus. But oh well. My rings are basically minus res with some attributes, and this one I made the other day. Minus res with cast speed, crit. Sadly, the mana went negative, but not a big deal. I got plenty of it. Um, Flasks. There's a couple choices. I was using a Progenesis, but now I'm using a Bottle of Faith. Um, a bunch of choices as well for these flasks. Nothing's really mandatory. As far as mechanics, there really isn't much. I'm using specters as well, a couple of specters. One is a proc shield, as you can see, it's triggered right now. And the other one is Arena Master, which gives me a bunch of attack speed and move speed uh, and damage bonus. It's very good. And funnily enough, they really don't seem to die. As you can see, by the way, if I don't have clarity up, I cannot use my skills. Uh, but yeah, basically that's it. Not a very complicated build. Um, I could use my other ring, by the way. I have another ring right now. This ring, um, it's a bit better maybe than the one I'm using because it would give me minus 200 lighting res, a lot of pen. But I kind of like the fact that this one has one less downside than cast speed. Um, I basically spent around a mirror and something to make this build. You can. I didn't buy the flasks. I already had most of the build. I only had to buy a couple pieces, but I think you can make it much cheaper. And if you want to go tanky, there's a couple options. You can use a Svalin with something like a room's concoction and lose the crit flask. You don't really need it. You can get crit otherwise, and Progenesis as well. So if I'm going tank, I'm gonna use this, and you get way tankier. Right now, this setup is kind of glass cannon. It's only made to DPS. It can clear most content kind of comfortably, but you will occasionally rip, and you kind of need to keep sparking. Otherwise, if an enemy gets close, you'll probably get one shot. For the demo, I'm gonna do a moment of trauma. Um, as you can see, it takes a while to load. Vaal clarity, it starts at 0 Vaal souls, so you need to wait a couple seconds to get it started. And we're good.
Father, what are you doing?
Okay, we can start preloading, drop our rank.
All things said remain consumed by fear.
Boom. Okay, so that took quite a while to kill because the mana lost from the Arcane Cloak wasn't triggering. That's quite annoying. Oh, nice. Good drop. Um, check. Blinded +3 extra. Okay. Not terrible. The +3 is kind of useful. But yeah. As you can see, like the build is a bit clunky when you have the automation on Arcane Cloak. It sometimes takes a long while to trigger, and you won't do basically any damage till then. You can kind of preload the build quite a bit, but I kind of failed to do so this time. Um, well, not a big problem. So for a quick overview of my Spark Vaal Clarity POV, I currently have, this is my level 100 POV. I'm not there yet. I'm level 96 for now because I'm still leveling. I only started leveling yesterday. This build was level 77 yesterday. Um, right now is 96, and I'm gonna try to get to 100 soon as possible. And yeah, as you can see, the damage is insane. There, at level 100, it's gonna do around 1.4 billion. Um, it's I'm eventually gonna integrate Vaal Righteous Fire, but for now, that's gonna be only for one-shotting Ubers. For now, this is my damage, and as you can see, I'm using Assassin's Mark, Purifying Brand for some extra consecrated ground when my Battle Fight is out. Um, a Sigil of Power as well, very OP. I'm using a Spectre with Mid Shield and Awakened increased AoE. That is to AoE is to increase the box shield for Undying Evangelists, which help not get one shot in maps randomly. And sorry about that. Uh, and the other one is Arena Master, which gives me this very nice buff, increased cast speed. Damage taken is very bad, but oh well. 20% move speed and 20% increased damage. Very OP. They usually don't die much nowadays because Spark's gonna delete the entire screen before any mob gets close to them. So that's very nice. Meat shield helps them stay close to you. And I'm using a Deadeye for this setup, which is not necessary. It's kind of a meme, but it is fun. And you can kind of just change this around as well. I'm not a big fan of this one because you don't really generate that much frenzy that well. You need to keep moving, and with Spark, you want to kind of stay still and cast. This is also very good. You could also go for this, and it's actually more damage, but I wouldn't have a way to generate frenzies. So without frenzies, my damage would go down to that. So yeah, that's kind of complicated. For now, I'm using this. Probably gonna change it. Um, this is totally unnecessary. I could also drop that for that, or for that, for more damage. Because I got so many projectiles. I got 18, I think, on my Spark of Nova. I'll check real quick. Um, yeah, I got a lot of increased damage. Um, projectiles, where are they? Yeah, 18. So I could totally lose a couple. Not a big deal. This doesn't make a difference. Mm, Chain isn't great. Yeah, I could go for Tailwind as well. I really like that option for a bit more movement speed. Uh, Maybe get to 200 movement speed with that, with a couple more mods, maybe. Um, so for the main 6 link, I'm using Spark of the Nova, Archmage, Crit Damage, Awaken Spell Echo, Arcane Surge, more duration. Arcane Surge, you cannot trigger it because you won't be spending mana. So this is apparently a dead link, but no, because you can actually get Arcane Surge from other sources like this. Um, so Tattoo is the easiest one, and that will allow the setup to work. And this is my movement speed setup. I'm probably gonna change this to dash, maybe. Um, Arcane Cloak automated with less duration, Empower on my gloves. Less duration is to make it trigger faster. The buff from Arcane Cloak is nice, but what's much nicer is being able to spend mana so you can get Indigo buffs. And boots, I'm using Vaal Clarity with Eternal Blessing, Empower Duration. Vaal Clarity is the main skill you're gonna be using besides Spark, the only one basically, outside of occasionally using Assassin's Mark. Um, Basically, the main idea behind it is by combining Runegraft of the Soulwake and utilizing um, Priest of the Yalmak, you can basically get infinite. Oh, and by adding a lot of duration, um, you can basically get infinite Vaal clarity, and that will give you no mana cost. So no mana cost, but you can trigger the mana cost from Indigon by using Arcane Cloak, like I said before, which is automated. And as you're gonna notice in my video of the boss kill, when Arcane Cloak is up and it's spent mana, you'll deal this amount of damage, but without it, you'll be stuck dealing way less damage. So this is why you kind of want to sacrifice having Arcane Cloak uptime uh, for having very quick triggering on it, as quick as possible to spend mana and guarantee you have like at least 75% of the time this damage instead of this damage. And I do use focus because I landed my 50% attack speed, cast speed on gloves. These are legacy gloves, legacy global crit multi. Totally not necessary. You can drop that to get a bunch of crit from jewels. Um, you could go for anything else there. Maybe some intelligence. Um, as for the wands, this is not ideal because they have lightning damage from as extra chaos. That's not useful because that's a dead mod with Darius prototype. Deal no non-lightning damage, but they are nice mirror wands. I got for cheap in standard. I got them for like 350 divines each or something. Very good wands. Give me a bunch of mana and good stuff and some double damage. A lot of cast speed. Lot of, this build casts like this isn't actually accurate. I think it's a bit faster even. When you get some shrines and stuff, this can cast like 20 times per second or 15 times per second when you get a shrine. It's insane. It can like quite a bit actually, because you're getting so many sparks with 18 projectiles. Legacy Indigon, as I said, without Legacy Indigon, if you use a regular one, I can show you your damage is gonna be around this. Not that great, but well, it's what you can do in League. It is what it is. Yeah. So boots, just some regular boots you can make nowadays, but with the caveat of having an enchant, which is legacy, 35% mana regen, which is totally unnecessary. You can just drop that. Rings, I made one of them myself and bought the other one a while ago. This Dex int minus res, lightning res, and this crit lightning I made myself. And it's got reduced mana regen, which isn't ideal. I also have another one, which is actually the one I'm using right now, which is a bit less damage, but it's comfier, more mana regen. Though it does reduce my life a bit. Life regen actually, and my mana. But it does have cast speed, which the other one doesn't, which is basically a free haste aura on that ring. So I like this one quite a bit, in spite of it being a bit less damage. It also name matches the other one I'm using, which is quite funny. And yeah, this is basically all the gear. For the jewels, I'm using mineral lightning resistance. This is important. to not nerf your pen. Storm Shroud. I'm using two 3-pass voices. You can go for ones if you have the money, and a lot of jewels with crit mana. This has some projectile speed and some mana regen, and more crit, mana, projectile speed, mana crit. This is for Storm Shroud. I'm using a lot of these, as you can see. I do have this cluster, which gives me Scintillating Idea and Dorian's Lesson, nice mana, and some Leech, which I do need. Curb to Blood Jewel, Immune to Silence, Hazardous Research for a couple projectiles. You can change that for a regular jewel if you're playing League. And Adorned, you can just use a regular one, not Legacy. This is not Legacy, it's nice. Go for a max roll if you can. It's some extra mana regen. Watcher's Eye with Clarity, 2 Clarity mods, Recoup, and Taken from Mana. And yeah, that's basically it. That's all I have to show for it. The Diamond Flask is quite nice. It helps get crit a bit more close to something decent, because this is terrible. It's a lot of damage, as you can see. I should probably go for a legacy one, but I think I sold mine, and I forgot to replace it. And this is some regen, some max res, legacy movement speed. You can change that for a regular movement speed. Silver Flask with cast speed, which you can also drop. You can go for, instead of cast speed, you can go for chance to avoid being shocked. And that way you can get some crit on this jewel instead. So you change some cast speed for some crit, which is great, no problem. Might be even some more damage actually than this. Yeah, I'm using this with Lightning Taken Skull, Decreased Mana Crusader. Crusader is quite important because it allows you to get some increased damage scaling from mana. As you can see, Transfiguration of Mind. And yeah, that's basically it. Some mana when you use a guard skill. Another very important one is this one. Since you're spamming so many sparks, this is gonna make sure you have full mana almost all the time, even expanding all the mana for Arcane Cloak. And yeah, this is also very important for huge shocks. I'm actually being quite modest here. I'm getting massive shocks on this build. Yeah, this is also very good. Increased crit against shocked enemies. If the enemy isn't shocked, my damage goes down quite a bit, as you can see, from this massive crit boost. Yeah, and I think that's basically it. This is also good. Another rune graph that's very important is this one for increased buff duration. Very useful on this build. A lot of mana tattoos, some life tattoos. I got a couple of them. Arcane Surge, as I said before, and yeah, that's basically it. Hope you enjoy the build.